We're covering the breaking news, the protests here in Los Angeles, where we are anticipating a decision any minute regarding a curfew here in Los Angeles, which would take effect tonight as darkness falls where we are. So as we anticipate that decision coming any moment, clear that the mayor of Los Angeles supports it. We've got live pictures of protesters in New York and Chicago filling the streets. In fact, new video just into out front of a car in Chicago moving through a protest. It appeared to push a few sign holders there in the protest in Chicago before then speeding away. So unclear exactly what we were seeing there. Also, large protests underway in New York City, protesting Trump's deportation and the use of ICE officers with those ICE raids. Shimon Prokupecz is out front in New York City. Whitney Wild is out front in Chicago. I want to begin, though, with you, Shimon, in New York. And what are you seeing there?
Aaron, one of the largest protests that this city has seen in quite some time. This protest has stretched for blocks from each side of the avenues, from 6th Avenue. We're now on Hudson Street, and we've been going for about nearly 2 hours. And you can see people are holding signs saying ICE out of New York City. We've seen flags of Mexico. We've seen the Palestinian flag, and really just a convergence of different issues and different concerns that people here in New York City have. Also, they all first gathered at around 5 o'clock Eastern here at Foley Square, which is right outside the federal building and ICE offices. And they then marched for about several blocks, and then they veered off onto another street, Varick Street, where there are more ICE offices and the immigration courts. And they stood there for several minutes chanting and getting together. And all of the traffic in the area was completely shut down. And it was the first time that we had seen the NYPD start to mobilize, start to gather to try and figure out how to get the street back open. But the demonstrators here left, and this is where we are now on Hudson Street. We are now marching towards a park where they plan on stopping, and we'll see if that continues. But what is so significant here, Aaron, certainly I've covered a lot of protests here the last several years. This is one of the largest demonstrations, certainly, that we've had here in New York City. As for the NYPD, they are letting them. They are allowing them to take over the streets, to march. Of course, the goal is to have them essentially tire out and then stop. But we're not seeing any kind of show of force. We're not even seeing NYPD in the middle of the crowd. Most of them, when they do appear, they're on the outside of the group, and they're just allowing them to continue now to march. And they've been going for well over 2 hours now, Aaron.
All right, Shimon, thank you very much. Going to be covering this from New York tonight. And let's go to Chicago, where Whitney Wild has been covering the protest there. Whitney, we saw that video of the car just moments ago, but what are you seeing where you are right now?
Well, we're here at the Federal Plaza. This is right outside the federal courthouse here in downtown Chicago. This is a really common place where people protest. It's quiet at the moment, Aaron, but this is where that very large protest had stepped off. That was around 5:30. They made their way down the most iconic location in Chicago, Magnificent Mile, right down Michigan Avenue. And Aaron, if you can see from those aerial video, that really gives you a sense of the scale here, because this protest was massive. It took up, the entire side of Michigan Avenue. It also started to sort of edge into oncoming traffic the other way. What we're told by people who are at the very center of organizing this is that that crowd is about to come back to Federal Plaza, where they will continue this protest. But as you had mentioned, this has been a peaceful protest. The major incident here was that car that appeared to clip a few protesters. That was at Wabash and Monroe. So we're going to continue to try to figure out what happened there, if that driver was arrested, what the intention for that driver was. Aaron, a lot of open questions here, but for the most part, despite the scale here, and it is a noisy protest, there have been no major incidents aside from that car that appeared to have driven, into or near that protest, Aaron.
Whitney Wild, thank you very much in Chicago. And we'll be back here with the breaking news here in L.A., watching the protests here and the possibility of the breaking news of a curfew any moment. We'll be right back. We're looking at these live images here out of Los Angeles, pictures of the fifth day of protests, various street intersections here throughout downtown L.A. over the freeway. You're seeing groups of protesters and police. We've seen tactical units. We are awaiting news on whether there's a curfew. But President Trump just moments ago making it clear how long that he intends to keep the military in Los Angeles.
If there's peace, we get out. If there's even a chance of no peace, we stay there until there's peace.
This comes as Trump made it clear today his intention to use the military for political purposes. Tom Foreman is out front.
Thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines have been called to Los Angeles by President Trump, who insists only military muscle can contain the trouble.
If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last time we gave them a little additional help, Los Angeles would be burning right now.
But local officials say police were already dealing with sporadic violence around the largely peaceful protest, which they say were spurred by the White House's desperate and clumsy quest to increase deportations.
People have asked me, what are the Marines going to do when they get here? That's a good question. I have no idea.
It underscores Trump's long-standing interest in using the U.S. military even against Americans. For example, when Black Lives Matter protesters rose up in 2020, Trump reportedly considered deploying troops and asked his then defense secretary, "Can't you just shoot them? Just shoot them in the legs or something?" Trump denies such tales, but just last fall, when asked about potential election unrest, he said,
We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
He has stretched norms by sending thousands of troops to America's southern border, by planning a massive parade of military force, and by ignoring former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, who said standing beside Trump for a photo op against the backdrop of the Black Lives Matter protest was a mistake.
That's fundamental to the health of this republic. You never want the military in actual politics.
To be sure, there are a few rarely used ways a president can call troops to enforce domestic law, including the Insurrection Act, aimed at stopping uprisings against government authority. But Trump did not cite that and send help when his followers attacked the U.S. Capitol in 2021, trying to overturn the election he lost. Instead, he pardoned all those protesters on his first day back in office. Still, in Los Angeles, where the protesters oppose him, Trump is keeping that card on the table.
If there's an insurrection, I would certainly invoke it. We'll see.
The last time the Insurrection Act was invoked was in the 1992 LA riots. I was there, and I will assure you they were much bigger, much broader spread, and much more violent than probably all of the unrest we see right now. Bottom line is, when it was imposed then, it was with the agreement of the president, the governor, and the mayor, all acting together. Aaron?
Yeah, something we are not seeing at all right now. Tom Foreman, thanks so very much to you. We'll be here through the night reporting. We'll see if that curfew is announced in just a few moments. And in the meantime, thanks for watching.